Hey, all right, everybody. How's it going? Now, the other day, a couple of days ago, 2 days ago, 1.5 days ago, something like that, I made a video, and part of that video, I touched on the Jaguar I-Pace, which was careening down the motorway, and he couldn't stop the car, and in the end, the police stopped the car. Now, what went wrong? I want to go a little bit into depth about what went wrong. Now, I'm not an engineer of such. I know a little bit. I don't know a lot. But I've had a look at things, and I just want to find out, a little bit more about what went wrong. Now, on a petrol or diesel car, you've got a servo and a brake master cylinder. Now, that servo is helped by a vacuum. And a vacuum either comes from, on a petrol car, the vacuum comes from the engine itself. And on a diesel car, sometimes the diesel can't create enough vacuum, so there'll be like a little servo pump. Like I had a transit diesel van once, and it had a little servo pump that I think it was not run off the belt, and that created a vacuum on the big servo part. Now, if you don't know what a servo is, here's a clip of me showing you what a servo is. Right, okay, here we are. Here's a petrol engine car. This is a 1.2 petrol engine, and tucked away down there, I don't know if you can see it very well because I haven't got a very good light, but there's a big round servo there. It's not focusing on my fingers to there. There's the brake fluid. In there is the old servo. And I don't know if you can see there's a pipe. There's a pipe there, look. There. And it goes across there. You can't see it very well. I don't think you can see it very well. Let me point in the right direction would help. There's a pipe that goes across there. It goes down there, down along here. And then it is, and it comes back in here. And it's going in by the throttle body somewhere. So it goes back in, and it creates a vacuum. Right, okay then, that's what a servo is. Most of you know what a servo is, but just in case anybody's watching, they might not know what a servo is. Now, on an electric car, you can't have a vacuum operated servo. Well, you could have like some sort of electric suction pump type with a big servo thing, but it's slightly different. I've looked at quite a few, I went on eBay and looked at quite a few different sort of brake assisted type servos, electronic servos with pumps on the side. So electric cars are slightly different. Now, the Jaguar I-Pace, I was trying to look up if it was a fly-by-wire, brake system, and if the pedal touched the brake servo at all. Now, when I looked on eBay, the brake servo type thing, I'll try and put some pictures up so you understand what I'm trying to say. There was a piston of sorts that was pushed in and out by the brake pedal. Now, what I assume is that this actuator is creating some sort of electronic system inside this pump assisted servo. It's like a pump, but a servo. That actuation is telling that pump to go faster or slower or whatever. Now, I assume that they got that system that in the event of a brake failure, if you push the brake down really hard, there is some sort of mechanical system that would push the brakes on. That's what I'm thinking in my head, okay? Now, if you know different, put it in the comments section, right? So, I've looked at Nissan Leafs, I've looked at Renault Zoes, I've looked at the MG5, and they've all got this sort of, where the servo would be in a petrol car, there's this system, pump system, and it works via a lever off the brake pedal. Now, I read about the Jaguar, and the Jaguar, they were saying that if you press the brake a little bit, that will give you some sort of regen and won't affect and won't apply the actual brakes. Now, if people own Jaguar I-Paces, you can tell me if I'm right or wrong, or if you can change it in the settings. Okay, so you press it a little bit. There's no sort of pressure going through the things. It's all done electronically, and it uses a little bit of regen instead of the brakes. And when you press it harder, then the actual brakes of the car come in. Now, on other cars where you have one pedal driving, the regen works by lifting off the accelerator. You know what I mean, don't you? If you've got an electric car, you lift off the accelerator and the regen comes in, and you don't have to, on some cars, you don't have to touch the brakes, the regen will come in. But I think on the Jag, this is what I was reading, is if you press the brakes a little bit, you can adjust the regen, but it works in tandem with the brakes. If I'm wrong, in the comment section. Right, so I'm going to get to my point now in a minute. Now, so on most of these systems, it looks like there is some sort of, as you press harder, there might be some sort of backup system where it still applies the brakes, okay, mechanically, because it has still got that rod on it. I should have put some pictures up by now to show you what I mean. But in the case of the Jaguar I-Pace, this is where it all gets a little bit funny, because I've read a few things, I've gone and looked at some of the forums, and some people have stated that when they've gone to press the brake pedal down, they feel the brake pedal pushing back up towards them, okay? So that electronic system is somehow putting back pressure onto that rod, and then is pushing the pedal back up. So in effect, you can't push the pedal down, so you lose your brakes. Now, I might be wrong with what I'm saying, but that's what I'm thinking in my head, is that they said that they tried to push the brakes down. As they pushed them down, the pedal was pushing back up against their foot, and it felt like you're just pushing against a brick wall, and it won't go down. It's lifting back up. So I'm thinking that something has gone wrong in that. Somewhere in that design of that foot brake, servo pumpy thing. I don't know what it's called. It somehow is putting pressure back, and it's stopping you from physically braking. Now, there are handbrakes and electronic handbrakes and whatnot, and the Jaguar in question must have had a catastrophic failure system all over, because the person said that the car was he was trying to brake and there was no brakes. The car was accelerating, going faster. I don't think it was like foot down to the floor accelerating, but it just kept getting faster and faster and faster. So there must have been some sort of, them brakes, they go back to some sort of main module system. Same as the fly-by-wire accelerator pedal goes back to some sort of module. I've said this in the other video, where you want to change to drive or reverse or neutral, that all goes back to some sort of main module system. And obviously the start-stop button, that goes to some sort of main module system. So it seems to me like it was more than just the brakes. It was more like some sort of catastrophic failure has caused this car to go careering down the road, and it had to be stopped by the police. Now, when I made the video the other day, a lot of people have commented who don't like EVs, and they've said things like, this is a serious situation and electric cars need to be looked at and investigated. But I replied to that particular person and I said, if it was an automatic diesel BMW with keyless start, fly-by-wire, and something went wrong with that, would you be asking for just the BMWs to be looked at, or all diesel cars? See what I'm saying? So some people have a bit of a knee-jerk reaction. They get their handbags out and they have a knee-jerk reaction, and they think all electric cars should be looked at. Now, Jaguar should look at this, the I-Pace and what's happened, because there has been, I looked on a forum and there's been a couple of cases. I think it was Craig from Liverpool. Craig, what's his face? Craig, what? I can't remember his name. He was on Big Brother and he does DIY. He said he had a Jaguar I-Pace and he said the brakes went funny on him once when he was going towards traffic lights. He said it went funny, then it was okay. And there was a couple of other people said they've had problems with the Jaguar I-Pace brakes. So the Jaguar needs to take this fault very, very seriously, because they're stopping production of all combustion cars in June this year, and they're going over to electric only. So they need to look at it very, very carefully. So I don't expect things like this to happen to a Tesla. I bet there's more backup systems in a Tesla compared to other cars, because they were like a software company first of all. So I don't expect that to happen in a Tesla. It might happen. I don't know. Look, you have cases of people saying they can't accelerated, but when they go and look at the actual data, they can see that they pressed the accelerator instead of the brake. Now, I'm not saying that's the case in this Jaguar I-Pace, but I'm just saying, don't knee jerk. Now, I did have another look. I tried to look at some top-end diesel cars or petrol cars, and I did find some Mercedes which had a similar sort of setup to an electric car. So it's not just electric cars, okay? These systems are on some of the top-end cars. So should we be going towards a fly-by-wire brake system? And the new thing coming out is a fly-by-wire steering system. Now, the benefits of fly-by-wire steering is there's no steering column, so if you're in an accident, that steering column doesn't get pushed towards the occupant, the driver. So that is the one benefit, and it's probably a little bit lighter. So there's benefits and then there's drawbacks, because if that system goes wrong and you can't steer, then you're in trouble, aren't you? So should there be some sort of safety system? Like, I was thinking, I watched a guy, I know I'm waffling a bit by here, right, okay? But the person who couldn't stop a Jaguar I-Pace, shouldn't there be some sort of system where on the dashboard you can pull like a doorway open, and inside there is something you can pull, and a pyrotechnic fuse blows the connection in the traction battery, the 800 volt battery, and stops it from accelerating. Should there be some sort of system like that you could manually do yourself? I don't mean they're dangling there behind some sort of door that you've got to pull off quite hard first, and you could pull that in the event of something weird going wrong with electrics. Because I did watch some guy, he changed his ID, he had to take an ID3 battery off, he bought a damaged ID3, and he had to lower the battery and change a pyrotechnic type fuse and blown inside. So it is like a little pyrotechnic fuse, and it actually blows like a bomb, and it splits the connection. Should there be systems like that so it stops accelerating? I don't know. And fly-by-wire brakes, they should always have a backup system. So should you really bother with fly-by-wire brakes? I don't think you should. Why try and fix something that already works? That's what I say. Anyway, that's my thoughts on the Jaguar I-Pace. I think I'll leave that. I won't do another Jaguar I-Pace video, but I just thought I'd try and dig a little deeper and see what's going on with all the little systems within the Jaguar I-Pace and what kind of brakes they had. Anyway, if you like this video, give it a like, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Ahoy!